Hey everyone. You know, everybody's pretty much done a video so far in this whole situation with Kevin Nash. And, well, let me throw in my 2 cents. Now, Kevin Nash, I'm reading it right here, I just read it, basically said that when Benoit and Guerrero hugged in the middle of the ring, that pretty much was the end of the business. He does acknowledge that both men were great workers, but when you have guys that are great workers but are the same size as the referees, you know, in fact, let me pull it up again right now, that it just doesn't work. Oh, wait a minute, I have a same size as the referees, that, well, it just doesn't work. Now, according to this report here, maybe Kevin feels, you know, let's face facts, first of all. Kevin Nash is working us. There's no doubt about it. He's getting us fans riled up and wanting us to talk about him so that WWE, maybe even TNA, will take notice and say, you know what? This guy's got people talking about him. Let's bring him back in. And let's give him a push. That's all it is. This is basically Kevin Nash's way of getting himself over with one of those companies so that if, let's say, the WWE, or let's say TNA decide to bring him back, it'll be like, hey, this guy's got people talking about him. Let's give him a big push. Now, will people like that? No, they won't like it. Okay, this is what he said, and I quote: "When Benoit and Guerrero hugged, that was the end of the business. Has business been the same since WrestleMania? Has it come close to the Austin era? Has it come close to the NWO? Or the Hogan era? You put two fucking guys that were great workers, that were the same height as the fucking referees, and I'm sorry, man." I know, I tried to do my best Kevin Nash impression. But basically, what it sounds like there is Kevin Nash is saying that, hey, if you have guys that are the same size as your referees, they're not going to make money. No one's going to pay attention to them. No one's going to take them seriously. Well, let me say something like now. See this guy behind me? See this guy behind me right there? Eddie Guerrero? When he became WWE champion, it was the best thing that had happened for Latino community, because we had not had a Latino champion in a long time. And two, the guy had just come back about 2 years before from being fired due to a drug rehab, due to a drug incident. The guy went on the independents, working with IWA, WWA, you know, working all the small independent shows, Ring of Honor even. And he comes back, if you will, he comes back in 2002, works his ass off to prove that he's back. He's no longer the same Guerrero he was before, and he gets rewarded with the championship. You can't go wrong with that. Now, as far as Benoit goes, the guy worked his ass off for 4 years. Yeah, you might say, well, didn't he become champion in WCW? He became champion due to the fact that WCW didn't know what to do with themselves at that moment in time. The people that they had planned to be in that match were injured or something. I don't know. So they put the belt on Benoit. Yes, because he had been working his ass off. And maybe as a favor to Bret Hart. But did it prevent him from leaving? No. That's the only reason they did put the belt on Chris, is because they thought, hey, this will prevent him from leaving. But it didn't work. And he had proven that he is a legit worker. I mean, even after he suffered a neck injury, if you will, they kept him off of WrestleMania 19. He came back a year later and won the championship. I mean, you had two guys, basically, Kevin, ladies and gentlemen, that had they remained with the company, could have remained with the company and been in better condition injury-free and drug-free, could have played significant roles in the invasion angle. I mean, obviously they had plans for Benoit to be playing a huge part there, but we don't know that yet. But we'll never know that because of the injury he sustained, and because of the fact that also Eddie, who again I believe could have played a significant role, got released. But again, Kevin wants to get us worked up for the fact that he believes no one would have taken, that the business died because of that. No, the business flourished because it showed that you don't have to be a super-sized man to be champion. I think Jeff Siegel, the Schleg Daddy, said it best. Wasn't Shawn Michaels in that same category? Bret Hart? You know? I'm just saying. Yeah, Benoit and Guerrero were about my size, maybe a little taller. Ray's a little shorter than I am, but hey, it didn't kill the business, it flourished from it because it showed that it doesn't matter what size you are, it doesn't matter who you are. If you prove yourself, if you've proven yourself and you worked your ass off hard enough to get to where you are, even after, let's say, after being released due to drug problems, and coming back from a near career-ending neck injury, then yeah, you deserve to be the champion. You deserve to prove it. To prove to people, hey, I can be champion. And you know what? Let me point out a few things that Jeff Siegel said. Let me point out a few things that Jeff said in his video. Finger poke of doom. Did that not kill the business? It almost nearly did for WCW. A lot of people pretty much significantly look at that finger poke of doom as being the top 5 reasons WCW went down. I mean, you literally took the WCW championship and you shit on it. You shit on it in front of a, well, not a sold-out Georgia Dome, but a halfway filled Georgia Dome. You shit on it. And then what about the curtain call? You basically broke literally kayfabe there. You broke kayfabe because, as it's been mentioned, you and Hunter were supposed to be the villains, the bad guys. And yet you go in along with Razor and along with Shawn and you embrace in a cage. You're breaking kayfabe. It's no wonder no wonder Triple H had to eat shit and like it. NWO. NWO was a cool faction, no doubt about it. But they basically ran over everybody. I need to basically keep guys like yourself, guys like Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, Hulk Hogan on top, and not give any of the younger members an opportunity to shine. Fine, as a champion. You get what I'm saying. Russo, Arquette, I agree with that. That killed your business, especially the company you're working for, because what? You want to put the belt on Arquette so you can get some media exposure, knowing your company's dying anyway, so you want to get some final media exposure? And Vince Russo, who decides to book himself as champion, why? So he can get more heat as a heel? I mean, there could be so many other things that could be mentioned. So many other things that even Jeff, he said in his video, could be talked about. You know what I'm saying? Many other things. Many other things. Okay? The invasion, for example. Did that not help kill the business? Of course it did. I mean, people literally were hoping to see a dream event, if you will, between WCW and WWE, and that didn't work out the way they wanted. You try to include ECW, and that didn't work either. And that turned a lot of people off. You try to bring back the NWO in 2002, and that didn't work. That blew up in your face. because people wanted Hogan back in the red and yellow, and you kept constantly adding different members to the NWO. Nobody knew who was part of it. Nobody. But again, did that kill the business? But again, you say this. But again, out of all that, you say this killed the business? No, it didn't. It embraced it. It flourished it. Yeah, you could say, well, what Benoit did kind of tainted it. Yeah, it's true, it may have tainted it a little bit. But if you remove that, and don't look at that negative, you say, yeah, it happened, but I'm not going to look at that negative thing that tainted his career. I'm going to look at what flourished his career, made his career flourish, his most important one, and that's being world champion. Then no, this didn't kill the business. And then you say this about CM Punk and Daniel Bryan. You say, and this is what Kevin Nash says, I quote, "They are not bigger than life. I bet they both could walk through an airport. I bet they could both walk through airports and not be noticed unless they have a gimmick shirt on and the belt." And he's basically, again, like I said, talking about CM Punk and Daniel Bryan. Okay, first of all, I agree with Jeff. Yeah, there's a possibility that could happen, but you know what? It won't. It won't, because fans will recognize them. Fans will. Fans will recognize them without a shirt, without wearing a shirt or having a belt. They will recognize them. I mean, you just don't have a group of people, probably, led by someone in a red mask, walking by you, and all of a sudden you see someone like a CM Punk or Daniel Bryan walking with them. You don't have that happen every day. So yeah, people will recognize them, especially the smart marks, the wrestling purists, the ones that followed them since the days in Ring of Honor, since their days in IWA, since their days over on the independent circuit, Japan, England, Mexico. They have followed them, and that's why they would know them, no matter whether they had the championship or not. So yeah, they're not bigger than life, but yeah, fans would recognize them whether they were wearing a t-shirt with a name on it or not. I mean, I guess what this guy says is true. This reporter said, Nash is a big man, and perhaps he does feel that only big guys deserve the spotlight. And let's not forget, he's outspoken and tends to say whatever is on his mind at the time. So basically what he's saying here, especially this line, Nash is a big man and perhaps he feels that only big guys deserve the spotlight. In other words, what this report is saying is maybe Nash feels that guys like himself, if he was still in his prime, guys like Hunter, Cena, maybe Rock, Austin. Well, Austin's not a big guy, but you gotta get the idea. Undertaker, Kane. Maybe he feels those are the kind of the guys that should be the champions, not guys like Benoit, Guerrero, or Punk and Bryan. Well, you know what? The business has... Well, I got news for Kevin Nash, and I'm sure a lot of people would agree. The business has changed. Yeah, some things have changed not for the better. I get that. But when it comes to giving different people different opportunities, it has changed. If it hadn't changed, then a guy like Tyson Kidd wouldn't have gotten the opportunity he did at Money in the Bank to try to get a world title shot. Okay? The thing is, Kevin Nash needs to realize things aren't like they used to be. Yes, he's working us, and this is what he wants from us, and he's getting it. But he has to realize whether he works us or not, and whether he stands by what he believes and says or not, that the business is different than it's ever been. Do I think he used some political pull, all if you will, to not face CM Punk last year or to continue his program with CM Punk? You're damn right I think he did. Yeah, it was probably part of injury too, but still. And heck, if you want any more proof, there was a pay-per-view last year, an independent pay-per-view, where Kevin Nash was supposed to face Ricky Morton. And towards the end, not even towards the end of the match, it's like he just walks out, doesn't care. That's it. He's done. Like he was only there for his paycheck and that's it. And, you know, even though I didn't pay too much attention to WWE back in '95, one, because we didn't have USA Network where I lived for some odd reason, I do agree, business wasn't, I mean, even though I was mainly watching WCW, business really wasn't the best it could be. Even with the fact that WCW acquired Hogan, business didn't feel like it was exciting anymore. I mean, I still watched it, but it just felt like it wasn't exciting anymore. It's almost like both WWE and WCW were trying to hold on to that good guy versus bad guy cartoon mentality. But I digress. But getting back on point here, yes, business in '95, like Jeff said, was bad in the WWE and WCW, especially in WWE when Kevin was champion. And you know what? And when Jeff mentioned this, I didn't even think about it till he mentioned it. They did show it as a highlight on television, but it is kind of true. They didn't show Kevin winning the title on a pay-per-view. They didn't have Kevin winning it on Monday Night Raw. They had Kevin winning it at a house show in Madison Square Garden in 8 seconds. So that kind of tells you, okay, wait a minute. Kevin wins in 8 seconds at a house show in Madison Square Garden, which gets highlighted on Raw, Superstars, and whatever else, Wrestling Challenge. And yet they don't want to do it, they don't want him to win the title on a pay-per-view. I guess it kind of shows, like Jeff said, what wrestling and WWE really thought of Kevin. I mean, yeah, they had him hold on to the belt for about a year. But the truth be told, if they really thought much of Kevin, they would have allowed him to win the title on a Raw. They would have allowed him win the title, maybe even on Superstars. Superstars or Wrestling Challenge, or even a main event special, or even a pay-per-view. They would have allowed him. But they didn't. They didn't allow him. It's because they didn't think people would tune in to watch that. Did he have his fan base? Yes, he did. But I think even as he was getting towards the end of his run as champion, I think fans were kind of getting tired of it. I think you can see that. But the thing is, you know, I think Chris Jericho says it best. Yes, the Kevin Nash has no place to talk, especially with '95 when he was champion, being the worst that wrestling business had ever been. So, honestly, I know Kevin's working us. Again, I feel he's just trying to get himself some attention, try to probably get himself noticed by WWE and TNA and say, hey, you know, give me some opportunity, give me a work, give me one last opportunity, one last run. Well, you know what? If that's what it's about, then fine. Kevin's got what he's wanted. Well, Kevin's probably going to get what he wants. But we don't know that. So, that's all I'm going to say on it. Comment down below, video response if you like. Tell me if you agree with anything I said. I will post this as a video response to Jeff's video. I'll put the link to his video down here. I'll put the link to the Bleacher Report that I'm looking at right now down here. Let me know what you guys think. I'll talk to y'all later.